Long-term sustained success is something you have to look for, and is there like a, I want to look at the traction over a longer period of time and how good the pipeline is, and these are factors that I look for predictability as well as scalability in terms of how the company is operating. Hi, my name is Venkat Raju. I'm a founding partner and CEO of Turbostart Global. And we are an early stage fund and an accelerator, and we look for investing in technology oriented startups all the way from idea stage through to those looking for scale up.
What pivotal role does a founder's vision play in the evaluation process? Can a strong vision compensate for other shortcomings?
Vision is very important because a founder has to set the North Star and thus attract the right kind of people, employees, partners, etc. to go forward on long-term journey. I would say vision, strategy, disruptive idea, all these are very, very important. But for me, there is one capability I would rank above all these things is execution, because I've seen people with the greatest of vision and the greatest of strategies and ideas, but it all comes down to execution, 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 and that is, I would put as a number one factor in our judgment.
What are the key qualities that you seek in a startup team beyond individual expertise? How crucial is team synergy for long-term success?
Oh, absolutely critical. It is okay when you're at an idea stage, it's a single founder, but as a company goes through its evolution along the journey, it better be a team. Because as somebody says, it takes a village to grow a child. It takes multiple people to create a very successful, viable, long-term company. So we look at the founding team. Do they complement each other well? And as well as not just the founding team, but the initial team and the leadership, and do they have all the necessary capabilities to take it from one stage to the next stage and so on and so forth. As the company grows, we want to make sure that the right kind of people are there to help with the scale up.
What metrics or signals indicate a startup's potential for scalability and sustainable growth?
So probably product market fit is probably the number one criteria I would think about, and there are several definitions of product market fit. What I look for is inbound interest on the part of customers seeking your product and you are unable to meet the demand. If that is a reality, that is a signal. Other metrics one should look for is your sales cycles reducing on a consecutive basis? Do partners come and wanting to work with you in support of your product that you're offering? Or employees wanting to high profile, difficult to hire people are coming to want to join in your journey? That means it shows confidence that you are done something right and you are well positioned for scale up. And that's important. These are some of the metrics I look for.
Talking about sustainable growth, how do you differentiate between short-term spikes and genuine growth potential?
As based on the previous answer I gave, short-term spikes can happen due to seasonal factors, or you got an awesome salesman who had a very strong network, he was able to do that, or some like COVID happened, maybe there was a spike as a result of that based on the space you are operating. But long-term sustained success is something you have to look for, and is there like a, I want to look at the traction over a longer period of time and how good the pipeline is, and these are factors that I look for predictability as well as scalability in terms of how the company is operating.
How do you evaluate a startup's customer-centric approach? What strategies or methodologies help in understanding customer needs effectively?
It depends on whether you are a B2C company or a B2B company, but putting that aside, I think you better get the pulse of the customers regardless of the stage you are in. I would say if you are a product company, for example, have you put in sufficient instrumentation? Whether you are running a website or you have a product and a solution that people are using, and where are they coming in, how are they using it, where are they falling off, you better have a handle on that. The other thing you should pay attention to is your support and the help desk, if you will. I've seen good founders, for example, participating in the help desk and getting a real-time feedback in terms of the customers and the complaints itself, for example. The other area is in the customer success. That's where, is the customer repeating the order? Are they re-signing for the second year contract and so on? These are all good indicators to say, do the customers like your product or not? Not to mention, you may want to track your social media, what the customers are talking about you and the brand, etc. So these are few things that you may want to be aware of.
As you mentioned about customers coming back, there's a specific term for it, customer retention rate, if I'm not wrong.
Correct. It is about repeatability, right? I mean, again, it varies by B2C and the B2B, for example. Okay, I signed this first year contract, fantastic ACV, here's my ARR, but is there a churn? Are they willing to re-sign? Are they willing to re-sign with a higher price? And so on and so forth. And these are important indicators as to the value that the customer is able to realize from your product.
Beyond revenue and profit, what financial indicators or strategies signify a startup's long-term viability and stability?
The key word is unit economics. Unit economics is like, okay, what's the cost of producing this unit? What's the cost of selling? What's the cost of servicing and supporting it effectively, for example? So it could be a widget, it could be a service, it could be whatever, but you need to have a very good handle and then understand, okay, how much is the customer willing to pay for this unit, for example, and how good is your margin? And over a period of time, as the customer base increases, the margin better continue to improve, for example, and that is what I look for, especially for the long-term viability and success.
So startups do take time to even reach the break-even point. How would you, as an investor, evaluate the health of a startup in order to determine whether it's fit for investment or not?
It's important to differentiate between research and development, product development, and that is like an investment. And that should be separated away from the unit economics, which I talked about. How much does it take to, service the product, and what's the cost of goods sold, etc. And as long as the company is trending in a way where I can see with economies of scale that the margin continues to improve, then it's a healthy business. So some companies could take 3 years to get there, others could take 5 years, but I would like to see the trend. As long as it's trending in the right direction, I think we have a good company.
How much weight do you give to a startup's track record versus its potential? What level of traction is considered significant for investment?
That would depend on the stage. So as I told you, we invest in all the way from idea stage to scale up stage. In an idea stage company, there is no traction. The only thing you can bet on is the team and the upside potential, if you will. But as you progress and look at slightly mature startups, we look at their track record. Track record not just in terms of pure number of customers and revenues, but also the other factors I attributed to are the repeat orders happening, the customers are coming back, what is the customer satisfaction, etc. Partner satisfaction also comes into play, and because the track record is very important to understand if they'll be able to go forward, because that gives the team experience and expertise in terms of how best to satisfy the market and grow effectively. So again, depends on the stage. So idea stage company, the only thing you can bet on is potential. Later stage companies, both the previous track record, but also how good is your forward-looking business plans, and that is something that we spend a lot of time looking at.
Could you share an example of a startup that demonstrated remarkable agility in iterating its business model when faced with unexpected market changes? What were the key factors contributing to their successful adaptation?
So if I look back, this startup is not part of the Turbostart portfolio, but I sit on the board of this company called Mobilewala. And it started in the ad tech space. We are talking about 11 years ago. And some of you may be familiar that entire ad tech market collapsed completely. And several companies, competitors of theirs, went under. The founding team, the founder was able to see what's happening and was able to pivot into what he called as a data intelligence company, leveraging all the assets that they had built until that point of time. And then the company was growing well. And then privacy concerns and regulations like GDPR and other things hit the company hard. And again, there was one more pivot. So these are all macro factors above and beyond the control of any given startup. But for me, resiliency and tenacity and ability to understand the macro environment and making appropriate changes is very critical. And now the company has now gone more into a aggregated consumer insights mode, if you will. So 3 pivots later, the company is still standing while a lot of their competition had melted away. So it's a good example.
Out of Turbostart's portfolio, is there any specific startup that checked all the boxes during the initial stages of pitching itself? As in, any company that left everybody at Turbostart enthralled with how they are operating?
Yes, I certainly do have my opinion, but because this is going out in the public, they are all my children, the way I see it. I don't want to call out one over the others, but each company has its own strengths and weaknesses. But clearly, at least internally, we have a pretty good idea about which company has the high potential, which company would require more help from us. And we work in a model where we want to see our entire portfolio of companies, all of them to be successful, and that's our model.